She promised a revolution in medicine, a blood test that could run hundreds of lab results from just a finger prick. Investors believed it. Powerful people endorsed it. The company was valued at around $9 billion. But behind the confidence, there was a problem that no amount of hype could solve because the technology didn't work the way the world was told it worked. This is the case brief. Today's episode, Theranos, the blood test startup that convinced Silicon Valley, partnered with major retailers, and then collapsed into investigations and trials. We'll follow the timeline and the warning signs that were hiding in plain sight. Theranos sold a simple story. Traditional blood tests require vials of blood and large machines. Theranos claimed it could do far more with far less, faster, cheaper, and easier. If it were true, it wouldn't just be a better product. It would be a healthcare revolution. Part of the reason this story traveled so fast is that it sounded like the kind of innovation people wanted to exist. Theranos positioned itself like a tech company, not a medical lab. It built a mystique. It talked about secrecy, patents, and a breakthrough. And once respected names were attached to the company, doubt became socially expensive. But medicine isn't like building an app. A glitch in software is frustrating. A glitch in medical testing can change lives. As the company grew, so did internal pressure. Employees described a culture where questions were discouraged, information was compartmentalized, and secrecy was treated as loyalty. At the center of the story is a straightforward question. Could the machines reliably do what the company said they could do? Because in lab testing, reliability isn't optional. Scams often survive by controlling what outsiders see. The most effective version isn't a total lie. It's a carefully managed presentation. In this story, the public image was clean. Modern labs, confident messaging, big partnerships. But behind the scenes, reports described testing being run on traditional machines for many results, while the revolutionary device was presented as the star. Major partnerships can act like a credibility engine. If a big brand is involved, people assume due diligence happened. And once a product is placed in front of everyday consumers, it stops feeling like a startup experiment. It feels real. In many big fraud stories, the collapse doesn't start with regulators. It starts with insiders, people who see the gap between claims and reality and decide they can't stay silent. This is where the timeline changes, because once details begin reaching journalists and investigators, the story moves from hype to verification. When scrutiny hits, a company can respond in two ways: transparency or control. Fraud-like stories often respond with intimidation, legal threats, aggressive messaging, and attempts to discredit critics. But scrutiny has a pattern. Once enough questions are public, silence becomes louder than answers. Eventually, the consequences move beyond reputation. Investigations, lawsuits, and criminal charges can follow, depending on what authorities believe happened and what evidence supports it. This part of the story becomes slower, but also clearer. Timelines, documents, and sworn testimony replace marketing. Theranos wasn't just about one company. It became a symbol of a bigger issue. What happens when tech-style hype collides with science that needs proof? Here are warning signs worth remembering in any revolutionary product story. 1. Big claims with limited independent validation. 2. Secrecy used as a shield, not protection. 3. Credibility borrowed from famous names instead of transparent data. 4. A culture where internal questions are treated like betrayal. And 5. Pressure to believe now rather than verify. In the end, the promise that launched this company wasn't just a product pitch, it was a trust pitch. And when trust becomes the main asset, the collapse is always brutal. If you want more true timelines of scams, frauds, and cases, subscribe to The Case Brief. New episodes every week.